convince me that if I went down there, they'd release my firearms to me, as if I'm some dolt.
Okay. I want to just look through the typewritten thing. What about, you said with let's go through the specific people, but you said Sear had races another police officer, which resulted in wrecking both patrol cars and the other officer hospitalized in 2006.
Yeah, I was a Penobscot sheriff.
And how do you know about that?
It was in the news. It was in the paper.
Okay.
It's hard art. Actually, I used Good Search, and when I usually check his name on a daily basis.
Okay.
And when I used Good Search that day, it showed that article.
Okay. Did the article say that they had been racing each other?
No, but with no one else is around, and they crash and collide with one another, with no criminal conduct, no other witnesses, no one else around. I mean, what else could they have been doing?
Well, I mean, did it say anything like, were they going to a call at the time?
No, they weren't.
Okay.
It was just an off-duty thing.
Okay.
Both of them were actually hospitalized, too.
Okay. What about photographing nude teenage girls and placing the photos on his MySpace page?
That was in the newspaper.
Okay.
That wasn't too long ago, actually. But if you try to find that article, you actually have to go to the library now.
Yeah, I wasn't able to find that online.
It's you can't even find the police truck one, the one I included, and that'll show it. And if you notice, his name is never in the article.
Do you, what would the Bucksport Library have the Ellsworth American?
I don't know. I would go to no.
Not just the newer ones.
I could probably call the paper actually.
And I have a connection there. Actually, he lives in Bucksport and works there. He was gonna actually try to give me those articles.
Okay.
Like I said, this happened sort of spur of the moment.
All right. I'll see if I can try to get them too.
But those happened. They were in the paper. It was everybody was talking about the MySpace page one. Then around in 2001, right around the brain time, he was in the paper for having sex with an underage girl in a squad car.
Yeah.
Now, this is
how do you know about that?
That was in the newspaper. I read about it. I always read the thing about the cops. The Ryan Knight thing with the killing the 14-year-old. That made big news. Good luck finding the article. You know, it was really big. And as a matter of fact, there's so many lawsuits, if you talk to other lawyers in the area against them for that crime still.
Okay.
Yeah, what they do is it's a small media. Most likely tax money gets them to take those people out of the media. I mean, it's nothing new.
Okay.
But
go ahead.
There's another important thing to mention. It's a federal crime to be allegated with any sexual offense against a minor and to work with minors. And I'm pretty sure of this. I saw this on the news once. And yet Matthew Sear is a coach at the school. Matthew Sear is also a coach with little kids. And when my son went to tryouts for baseball, one thing I thought was weird, yet my wife's friends were there and I was there, they have a closed room session for the tryouts, where the kids are in a room with him and maybe two other coaches alone. Since then, one of the coaches has been indicted for molesting many of the children on the Little League teams. Yet this man is still a cop and works with kids. And their argument to why parents can't watch the tryouts and why they're in the locked gym with him is because it brings too much conflict and competition between the parents.
Okay.
So I mean, and yet he's still a coach. He's still in closed rooms. He still works at the high school with teenage girls. Let me quote a good woman in the area who works at the shelter. Her name's Bonnie Williams. And I'm going to be giving you her number. She's lived in the area for many years. Nothing makes her sadder and scared more. Because most likely when you drive and you see someone pulled over by Sear, it's a young woman. And Lord knows what he's going to do to that woman.
What's that about Ryan Knight being responsible for the death of a 14-year-old girl?
Yes, in the summertime, Ryan Knight, there was a 14-year-old and another driver. They were speeding slightly. They were going to Verona and go to Waldo County, where they would have been Waldo County Sheriff's were waiting for him for the ticket. Ryan Knight was very young, ambitious, part-time officer. He's now their transport officer. He went out of jurisdiction, chased him in a high-speed chase to give him a speeding ticket, and they missed the corner of the bridge too fast and died due to his inaptness and ethics. fix, and yet he's never held liable and responsible too. Yet there's tons of lawsuits against the county now because of that.
Okay.
Bear in mind, this town Bucksport, I know, are you from Maine, sir?
Well, I've lived in Maine since I was 4, so technically I'm still from away, but.
Imagine this town has a population of under 3,000 people.
Yeah.
My high school had a population of over 3,000 kids. We didn't have a police department. We didn't have any of this stuff going on. You know, I mean.
You didn't have a police department in your
Not
town?
in my high school.
Oh.
You know, we have a great police, great ethical people, ethical cops, the National Police Department.
Nashua, you said? Is that where you grew up?
National Police Department is very good people. I would have no problem working with them, talking with them, and I have many times. Matter of fact, when I tell police officers that do missionary work, like one group of electricians come up and their whole family's from a group of Connecticut police officers, and I gave them a copy of my story, they're in absolute shock that police officers can conduct themselves and be police officers still after just the brain thing.
Yeah.
You know? And they're in shock. As a matter of fact, they usually have 150 students go into the Bucksport area to get Bucksport business when they come up once a summer. They are actually going to be calling the police department because usually they call the police department to warn them, you know, that they're bringing such a large amount of kids, teenage kids to the school. They don't want to now, and they won't do it in Bucksport. They're boycotting the town this summer because of what I gave them for a story.
Okay.
You know, this is important stuff, and like I said, I think documentation speaks louder than words, and I put you to the test while you do this investigation, see if anybody could put up documentation against me, prove me wrong.
Okay.
You know?
What's gonna, do you have, before, well, actually, anything you can think of that we haven't talked about? And if you think of something tomorrow, you can call me on the
There's so
phone,
much.
it's okay.
I'm gonna give you the witness list tonight, like I said, I got it, and they're great people, and these people are great people, they're very good human beings, you'll enjoy talking to them at the very least. You know, I hope you interview my wife. While you're there, please try to interview my eldest son. Just make sure no one's seen the kids. You drive by. It's hard. I have 4 kids. They usually run all around the property. I don't know if the state took them or not. Like I said, I haven't seen them in 2 years. So if you could do that much, that'd be great. Just make sure they're safe.
Do you have any contact with them, letters or anything at all?
No, I figured my wife, after doing all this, I know her as a human being. She usually cries and says how evil she is on her own and has mental issues. I would like her to contact me. I don't want to have her feel threatened. Imagine what she must feel like. She ripped me off. She's had the Bucksport Police Department feed her a bunch of lies and garbage. She's broken the law on such a gigantic scale, you know. Not to mention the counterfeit cashier check thing. I mean, the Bucksport Police